Okay, I've got my little helper today. Okay, so first thing when we're doing the Minnie Mouse, I've got my cake tin. This is a 10-inch cake tin. And just so I can get the scaling right, I sort of used a few different bowls just to find out, you know, what size. This bowl, I think, works really, really well. So that's how I've worked out, you know, what my bowl is going to be. So I'm going to spray my bowl and put some baking paper in it. And then I'll get my mixture and show you. Okay, so I've just cut out a circle. It's such a rough circle. I just use like kind of cheapo spray. Make sure that the last thing you want is for it to stick. It might just work spraying it, but I just don't want to run the risk of it not coming out because that would be so annoying. And then circle, I seriously see how badly my circle's been chopped. Just chop a thing down the middle so that you can sort of put it around. It doesn't really matter how this looks. You just kind of don't want too many creases. Well, I don't think it will matter actually either way. Okay, so I've finished with my bowl. I mean, it's nothing, it's not well lined at all, but I just want something in there. Okay, now, the next part is we're going to melt our marshmallows and our butter. I did this for the Peppa Pig cake. That's a Rice Krispie top. Now, I wasn't really prepared. I put my marshmallows and butter in and it went everywhere, and then it was this big sticky mess, and I was really hurriedly trying to get the rice bubbles and everything was sticky. It was a nightmare. So this time, Girl Scout motto, be prepared, or is that the Boy Scout motto? Anyway, in my bowl, I have got 2 cups of marshmallows and maybe like a tablespoon and a half of butter, unsalted butter. I don't think you need butter, but I've just got it anyway. And then in this bowl, I have 3 cups of rice bubbles. Rice crisp, whatever you call them in America, Rice Krispies or whatever. So last time I put my thing in the microwave for a minute, it was way too much. So I'm just gonna do it in 20-second increments, maybe 20 seconds to start, then maybe 10-second increments. And then once it's melted, put in your rice bubbles, mix it up, and then you need to put it in your bowl and make it really compact. Okay, first 20 seconds, and it's still, you know, the marshmallow has started to melt, but I'll do another 20 seconds. And I reckon that could be it. Okay, see how that looks now? It's all started to melt, so I'm stirring it around. Butter looks like it's melting quite well. And time to just keep melting. It's getting, butter sort of stops it from getting too sticky. Once the butter sort of looks like it's pretty much melted. Yum. Chuck in the rice bubbles.
Yeah.
That's where it starts getting really sticky.
Mummy,
Yes,
all the rice bubble turn in a rice bubble mix.
It is. Okay, that's how it looks. Let's get this bowl. Okay.
Can I lick the spoon?
Yeah, I've got to use all of it, Molly.
Hello. But Mama, I can...
Just wait, honey.
I want some of these.
Just wait. Okay. So, next thing is just, hang on, I'm not ready yet. You just wait till I'm finished and then we'll talk about it. Probably could have done with a bit more. Now, what I'm going to do now is I've got some leftover baking paper, just because you don't want your hands to get really sticky. You can just go like this to sort of flatten the top. I need a bit more than that actually. My hands are already getting really sticky.
Mummy?
Just wait. Now, doing this with the baking paper, you can actually push it down without half of it kind of popping up again, and just kind of make sure that it's all really nice and compact together. Just wait, Molly. Calm down. Okay, I've got a much bigger piece of paper, and now I'm just really shoving it down. I just really want it to be pressed right into the top of the bowl. Okay, just wait a second, honey. Now, that side's a bit further up. Just hang on. You can see here, there's probably about 1 centimetre. So I could have put a bit more in, but I mean, I think that's still gonna be fine. So next thing, I'm just gonna put it in the fridge overnight. Okay, so next day, we've got our Rice Krispie treat. Lily's gonna take it out of the bowl.
And unwrap it.
Yep, and unwrap it. That's it. Carefully, yep.
Oh my god, what? No. Oh,
Tip it over the other way. Tip it over.
Where should I start? I don't have a kind of.
Done it? Okay. Just wait, you stand there. And then we've got our ganache here.
Okay, tastes good.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Got our ganache. So the next thing, I'm going to keep this on the baking paper. The next step is just to put your ganache over it. Give it a decent, you kind of need it to go in the gaps. I'm basically just going to put a nice layer and then I'll put it back in the fridge. It's quite warm in Melbourne. It's been like 10 days over 30 degrees. So
32 and 34.
32 and 34, yep. So I'm just going to keep it in the fridge. But yep, just once you've done this, just get it as smooth as possible. Put it in the fridge or leave it at room temperature. And then we can cover it with fondant. Okay, so I've taken my dome out of the fridge. It's been there for a few days. Got some boiling hot water and a brush, and I'm just going to brush some water over the top to kind of just smooth it out. I mean, look, I'm probably going to put thick fondant over it anyway, but this will just help smooth out, you know, you can see all the lines and stuff there anyway, so I'm just going to make it nice and smooth. And then it'll be ready to cover with fondant. Okay, so I've sort of smoothed out my dome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the paper and then I'm going to roll out my black fondant. Now, I am using pre-coloured satin ice. Don't ever, with red and black, and this is, you know, Minnie Mouse, it's red and black cake. Don't try and colour it yourself. Red and black are the hardest colours to colour because they're dark. And for something like Minnie Mouse, you need really vibrant. You need a really vibrant red and a really, you know, true black. If you're colouring white fondant, it would take you probably a couple of bottles. It's just a waste of time, basically. Now, I think you can get Bakels coloured. My local cake shop doesn't have it. Usually I stick with Bakels fondant. So satin ice is the next best thing. A lot of people prefer this actually. I don't mind it. The one thing is do not buy a sausage, I think it's called plastic icing. You buy a sausage form of black and red and all these different colours. That is absolutely rubbish. It's really, really bad quality. It's a pain in the butt to work with. So, you know, Bakels or satin ice, I definitely recommend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my dome in black. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of corn flour. It's really stinking hot in Melbourne. It's been like this for ages. So it means your fondant is going to be a lot softer. With black, just be careful not to get corn flour, you know, on the fondant because it's going to lighten up the colour of it. So once you put one colour, once you put it down on the corn flour, don't move the position. Now I'm going to roll it out quite thick because I just want it to cover my dome nicely. My dome isn't like the best colour. Isn't the best. It's not as smooth as I would normally like. So sort of give it a bit of a smooth over like that. Yeah, I can see. I'll do that. Give me 1 second. Okay. Molly's just woken up from her nap. Just gonna put a tiny bit more water over my mouse. Right.
My
Now, here is my dome. And I'm just going to put my fondant over the top. Smooth it around.
Do you want me to go and get you a knife?
I actually need a pizza cutter, Ava. You can give me a knife. Fondant will show all the bumps, and there are a few, but it's all right. I mean, I've still got to put Minnie Mouse's face over it.
I face over.
Yeah, Minnie Mouse face over it. But all in all, that will be fine. Okay, so I'm going to trim this off down around the bottom, and then I'm going to, thank you Ava, just using a pizza cutter. And then I'm going to set it aside.